trialing a bunch of different gear modifications and different technologies with the New South Wales Ocean Trap Line industry to try and see if there's ways that we can work together to help remove rope from the water column or reduces the amount of time that rope is in the water column. We want to try and promote coexistence between the Australian fishing industry and the whales that are travelling up and down the coast every year.
So LIF Labs was asked by OceanWatch Australia to come out to Australia and show the fishermen how our ropeless fishing system that was designed for the lobster fishery in the States and how it works, and ultimately take that system and modify it and essentially upgrade it to work for the type of fishing that's done out here in Australia. The system essentially gets clipped onto the trap and sinks to the bottom of the ocean with no vertical rope coming up to the surface. And when you're ready to pull the gear back up, you send a signal down to it, it inflates the buoy, and it lifts the trap up to the surface.
We're trying to find a way of keeping the ropes out of the water column, and this method will keep the ropes basically on the bottom. So hopefully there's no way that whales can get tangled in the ropes, in the traps. It's more just trying to work a system out that suits your boat, suits the way we have our everything set up. After what, 4 or 5 goes, we got there. So you don't get 2 days in a row that are the same. So you have different things, the weather, the fish, the traps, the currents, whatever the boat. At the end of it, we just got to work out whether we've got a system there that we can do something with, and then progress it a bit further.
The hardest part I'm finding is because the buoy's so big, the back of the trap doesn't want to go down when you're trying to pull it up. The back of the trap goes down, we break the pot lifter or trap lifter, then it comes up.
Yeah.
So with the buoy there, it's trying to stay like that, so we've got to get it,
Doesn't just sink.
So we use the big lifter, it might make it a bit easier. Plus it wouldn't be so hard to slide off that, take it down the back, because the buoy sticking out the back hits that all the time. So I'm thinking that might eliminate that, make it easy to get over. We can get that over, and then I can keep winching the trap at the same time.
He's kind of looking at it from the perspective of he wants the lift to actually lift the fishing trap, which completely removes the rope entirely. And so he was really motivated to do that, and we did that over the last couple of days, and it was an exciting experience to be on the ground level of developing a system bespoke for this specific fisherman. After he made that modification yesterday, we were testing it, and it seemed to work really smoothly with his operations. And so we're keen to see how things go, in the future as he kind of gets used to using the system and gets faster with it.
To do these sort of trials and do this over a fairly small period of time, it's really hard to iron out all the things, but I suppose at the end of it, we just got to work out whether we've got a system there that we can do something with, and then progress it a bit further.
I think there's kind of a percentage of fishermen anywhere that are curious about how they could maybe do things differently, forward-looking, right? So if this isn't the answer today, right? We're looking for the answer, maybe a few years from now. If there is a significant issue here where fishermen aren't able to fish because they just keep losing all their traps and the whales cutting them off, and other issues, is this a potential tool that they could use potentially during certain seasons where it's more frequent.
Short is a whale mitigation system that they use over in the States and in Canada. I've been trialling it since June. I've found it to be very easy to use and fairly reliable. We do run a backup system on it so that if something happens, we can get the gear back. Of course, there's been challenges, and there always will be with any system you've got without putting floats on the surface. The system works on an acoustic magnet that's in the top of the basket. So you load your rope into your basket, and your float and your rope are tied onto the lid of the basket, and that goes on, it's locked in by a magnet. And then when you release the magnet, it comes out, it's got a small float on top of it, and the whole lid floats to the surface with your rope attached to it, and your rope uncoils out of it, and you retrieve it and retrieve your trap like normal. I'm using it at the moment on a fish trap, bolted to the top of the trap. The system's battery lasts a long time. It's all controlled by an iPad, and the tablet connects to a deck box. This deck box has the transducer plugged into it, so that's the transducer. You hang the transducer over the side, press range on your tablet, and it tells you how far away the trap is. That's when you know that it's talking to the trap. And then you press release, and it'll say whether the release is successful or unsuccessful. We've been using it in 65 fathoms of water. The cage has one float on the top. You can put extra floats on the top if you're working in current. I'd count it as a success with what I've done now with the fish trap. As I said, I'd like to do, they've given me a bigger cage, to use a bigger, heavier cage with heavier runners to use as a sled for the lobster gear, so I'm excited to give that a try.
We've been really lucky with the fishers who we have involved. They're really interested in what's going on and in trying to help safeguard their industry for the future. There's definitely some kinks that we're sort of working out through the trials, but they've been really good at being able to help us work through them, and also working with the gear developers specifically to try and work through some of the challenges that the trials have brought.
I'd recommend giving it a go if you're having trouble with whales, or if you're having trouble with shipping or anything like that. As with any system, it's more time consuming than just ropes and floats on the surface. So it's not something I'd want to do with my whole run, but it's something we need to look at and sort of get a feel for trialling these things in case we do end up with a problem like they've got over in the States and Canada with whales and their lobster fishing industries.